Today I'll be demonstrating Nokia Deepfield Defender and the integration with Deepfield's Network Firewall. So here we have our demo site. It's a real-life site in Dallas that is in the Dallas Executive Experience Center. And we have a single router, which is a 7950 XRS20, which has a mix of FP3 and FP4 cards in it. And what we're going to be doing today is launching an NTP attack, showing the detection and the auto-mitigation of that attack. So what I have configured is I have two different protected objects. I have a big data center customer object, and I have a big telco customer object. And today we'll be launching an attack against the big data center customer. What I have configured is a set of network firewall sets, which are different ways that we can interact with the Nokia router to whitelist traffic, mitigate traffic, and inspect traffic. And today we'll mostly be using the mitigation filters to automatically mitigate the attack that I launch. And to show you what I have configured, I have three different auto mitigations configured, two of which are stopped. One is configured for our big data center customer. It's using netconf, and it surrounds this 7950 XRS20. And what it does is it will actually start an auto mitigation when the system detects a DDoS attack for the big data center customer that's greater than 1 gigabits. And then we'll keep that auto mitigation running for the entire length of the mitigation. And after the attack ends, 1 minute after it ends, we will actually stop this auto mitigation. So let's get back to the Deepfield Defender landing page. So here we can see the amount of traffic we have running in the system. It's right around 60 gigs, of which about 55 of it is going to our big telco customer, and about 5 gigs is going to the big data center customer. I'm now going to switch over to the Ixia, where I have a pre-configured NTP monolith attack, and I'm going to go ahead and start that attack. And what we'll see down here in the graph is the purple line, which is the DDoS attack for NTP, ramp up, and it's now sending our system 10 gigs of traffic. So if I switch back to the Deepfield console, what we'll see is an attack be detected. And in fact, that's what we have here. We have one active attack. It's going to protection group big data center customer. We have the start time. We have the duration. We are beginning to see traffic ramp up. It's not at its full capacity. This attack is actually a 10 gig attack. So these numbers will update over time and show us the attack ramp up. And we can see that the trigger for the DDoS attack is NTP receive bits per second. And we detected this on a /32, meaning it's going to a single IP address. And here we can now see that the big data center customer is actually receiving close to, says 13 gigs here. This will kind of change anywhere between 13 and 15 gigs depending on the flow export. So now what we can do is we can click in on this alert, and we can get more information about the attack and see what happens when we mitigate. So when we drill in, we can now start to see that the attack is being detected. It's showing up at about 8.9 or 9 gigs. And in fact, over here, we've actually already auto-mitigated it. We were smart enough to detect and launch an auto-mitigation. And actually here we can see that I ramped it up at about 22:16:28, and it ran for a little over a minute, and then we auto-mitigated and automatically started dropping that traffic. So when we flip back to the incident alert, we can see what IP address is under attack. We can see the attack vector. We can see the magnitude of the attack. Over here, it's about 10 gigs. And then we can actually see that we have launched 29 mitigation network firewall filters. So let's click on Manage. And now we can see for the netconf filters what we have enabled. So here we have enabled 29 different filters. They're all different filters. Some are rate limited, some are dropping. And so we're doing various things based on what we have determined to be the most effective way to auto-mitigate and block this attack. We can actually get real-time firewall filter statistics as well. If we click on the firewall filter statistics, we can wait for this to update. And we're actually getting real-time streaming gRPC stats from the router about what we're dropping. And so here we can see incident 51, that was my NTP attack. ACL ID 209 is dropping 11 gigs of traffic, which is the entirety of my DDoS attack. And so now we can go back to the Ixia and we can stop my attack. And then we can wait for the incident to clear. So I'll go back to my console and go back to my incident. And we'll wait for this incident to clear. And then 1 minute after this incident moves from an active state to an inactive state, we will automatically withdraw all 29 of these mitigation rules, and the attack will be over and the auto mitigation will be over. I'll pause the video and we will wait for this incident to move to the inactive state, and then we'll come back and check on what firewall filters have been removed. I've waited a few minutes here and we can see that my attack is now starting to decrease in magnitude. And I can see that even though my 29 mitigation filters are still in place, we're now dropping 0 bits per second based on the filters that we have in place, but we're still passing a little bit for one of our whitelisting filters. And so the attack has stopped, we're no longer mitigating, and now we're waiting for the attack to clear. And when the attack clears, becomes inactive, we will remove these 29 firewall filters, and the router will be returned to its original state. We can now see that the incident, number 51, has become inactive. Its start time was 16:53:10 to 16:57:30. It lasted for approximately 4 minutes and 20 seconds. And even though it's inactive, my firewall filters are still in place because our auto mitigation settings were to leave these firewall filters in place for 1 minute after the attack becomes inactive. So we'll pause again and come back in a few seconds, and we'll be able to see when the system has removed these 29 firewall filters from the router, and the system will be returned to its original state. We've now exceeded the 1 minute threshold after the incident has become inactive, and here we can see that we are no longer managing any firewall filters in the router, no whitelist, no mitigation, no inspections, and we're no longer dropping any traffic based on this attack. That's all there is to it. Once you set up Defender properly, get your network firewall sets configured, you can configure auto mitigation, and you can then detect and automatically push whitelist, mitigation, or inspection filters to your Nokia router automatically to mitigate or do other types of policy control on your DDoS traffic.